Honoring Lives Lost tomorrow marks 30 years since the bombing at the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City, an attack that claimed 168 lives and forever changed countless others. Tonight, 5 News reporter Morgan Wrigley joins us live from the Oklahoma City National Memorial and Museum. Morgan, so many lives were impacted by this event, and you're hearing from a local woman who lost her son in the attack.
That's right, Lauren. So many families were changed forever from this tragedy that happened right here almost 30 years ago, including some from Arkansas. I spoke with one mother from Bentonville who lost her son in the attack, and today she's cherishing his memory and making sure that his legacy lives on forever.
Our hearts share the same loss. Our hurt feels the same as yours. We know you wonder when peace will come, and will we ever be carefree again?
Among the 168 chairs at the Oklahoma City National Memorial and Museum, each one holds a name and a story. For Joyce Bolte, it's the story of her son, Mark.
Mark was our oldest. We had 2 boys. Matt was 7 years younger. He was a really good kid. Both of them were. We were very fortunate. Mark just had a big heart, and he liked to do things for people.
Mark Bolte was 28 years old, an Eagle Scout, a Federal Highways employee.
And when he was getting ready to go to Oklahoma City from Austin, his old boss told his new boss, he said, "You're just getting a great big teddy bear."
He had just landed his dream job in Oklahoma City, and on April 16th, 1995, he was home for Easter.
He said, "You all have got to come and see me," and we said, "Okay, we will. We'll get over there." And
3 days later, April 19th, Joyce was at work in Bentonville at Walmart when she heard the news.
one of the girls turned around to somebody and she said, "They just blew up the federal building in Oklahoma City," and I just literally froze. They called and said he was missing. Then they called and said they thought they'd found him. And then late that evening, they called and said he was missing. And we left for Oklahoma City that night.
For 2 weeks, Joyce and her husband Don waited, surrounded by other grieving families.
Every evening when the commissioner from the medical office would come in, and he would read off the names, my husband, he said, "Is there any chance that Mark suffered?" And he said, "No. As far as he went down, he never knew what hit him." And that comforted Don a lot.
While the Bolte family coped with their grief, they felt supported by those around them in Oklahoma City and their community at home in Bentonville.
The townspeople did so much to honor Mark. The world cared. And that made a great deal of difference to all of us. Everybody cared that our person was gone.
Joyce made it her mission to make sure others grieving a loved one felt that support too.
Shortly after after the bombing, there was a plane crash, and I can't remember now where it was, but I wrote a letter to every family that was on that plane. These are the things that I learned from grief. It feels a lot better to do something for somebody else than sit at home and worry about what you've lost.
Mark's legacy lives on in an engineering scholarship, in Boy Scout donations, and in a bridge he helped design in Texas, named in his honor. Along with the bridge, a plaque was engraved with a poem Joyce wrote during the weeks they spent waiting to hear about Mark's status in April 1995.
"They were called by God for a reason, one that He alone knows. He must have needed some good engineers to build new streets of gold. God chose us all for a reason. He knows we trust Him so. He knew they would do their heavenly work and still keep watch over us below."
Tomorrow, Mark and the other 167 people who lost their lives in that tragic event will be honored right here, and along with those who responded to help in the wake of that tragedy, will be here at that ceremony. And tomorrow morning at 6 and 6:30, we'll have a story of some heroes from our area, LaFleur County, Oklahoma, who rushed to help 30 years ago. But for now, we're live in Oklahoma City, covering news where you live. Morgan Wrigley, 5 News.
It's going to be such a moving weekend there. Thank you, Morgan. The victims included 3 others from our area. Fort Smith native Rebecca Needham Anderson, a nurse, rushed to help to the scene. She collapsed and later died rescuing survivors at the blast site. Renota Woodbridge graduated from high school in Batesville and earned a bachelor's and master's in civil engineering at the U of A. And Wanda Watkins, she has family ties to Rogers. She worked as a civilian for the Army, even spending time at Fort Chaffee before transferring to Oklahoma City. That ceremony starts tomorrow morning at 8:30. It will feature remarks from former President Bill Clinton. You can catch the full ceremony starting at 8:30 live on 5+. Download onto your TV and watch for free. 2 people from Missouri are facing aggravated death by delivery charges in Benton County. Tonight, 29-year-old Adam Blake Hensley died earlier this month from a fentanyl overdose. Now prosecutors say they found the 2 suspects after Hensley's death. 5 News reporter Jacob Luthi joins us now and has what prosecutors say needs to be done to curb overdose deaths in the county.
Now, Lauren, formal charges are expected to come after the Benton County Prosecutor's Office continues to investigate the suspects, 40-year-old Jamie Louise Walker and 22-year-old Gage Hill. As an office, they are focused on going after those involved in selling the drugs in the county and stopping deaths like these.
Benton County officials want Arkansans to know they are working to get fentanyl off the streets.
It's just not worth the risk. It's not a good business decision. We want it out of our community because it's killing our kids and it's killing parents of kids. And we're going to do everything we can to solve that problem.
In their latest efforts, court documents show Jamie Louise Walker and Gage Hill were booked for criminal conspiracy, unlawful use of a communication device, and aggravated death by delivery of fentanyl. A probable cause affidavit says they supplied the fentanyl that killed Adam Hensley in early April. Included in the affidavit are records of text messages where Hill tells another person the fentanyl he was allegedly selling was, quote, scary, adding, quote, this stuff is just too dangerous.
It's not worth the risk of having fentanyl, sharing fentanyl, certainly using it, selling it, that in Arkansas in general and in Benton County in particular.
Robinson says aggravated death by delivery could carry a minimum of 20 years in prison.
In Benton County, we're trying to focus on the people that we believe are selling it, distributing it to multiple people. They're profiting off of the addictions of others. And given that it's so dangerous and people don't know how much they're getting, every single case is like a game of Russian roulette. This law allows us to try one avenue of trying to stop, the fentanyl epidemic.
Robinson says work is already being done by multiple agencies to deter the sale of drugs.
We're consistently hearing from people in the drug trade when we talk to our narcotics officers, that they don't want to come do business in Benton County. Because they know they're going to be punished harshly.
Now, again, formal charges have not been filed by the prosecutor's office on the 2 accused. Robinson says they will review all the evidence from police before making a decision. Both Hill and Walker are expected back in court in late May. Jacob Luthi, 5 News.
New tonight, updates on a case challenging Governor Sanders and the Arkansas Department of Education, specifically a part of the LEARNS Act intended to ban what lawmakers say is indoctrination in schools. In court this week, lawyers argue that part of the LEARNS Act is intended to ban indoctrination actually violates students' rights. But Attorney General Tim Griffin wants the court to lift a temporary pause that currently blocks that part of the law from being enforced. Maya Brodziak, the lawyer representing the Little Rock Central teacher and students, argued the pause is necessary to uphold the First Amendment right to receive information. But the state argues it can control curriculum as a form of government speech, and the First Amendment cannot limit what they can or can't say. Brodziak counters, saying this isn't about what the government chooses to include in curriculum, but whether they are removing material based on ideology or racism.
Schools are an incredibly important place to not just educate skills and sort of basic, arithmetic, how to read, but really to prepare them for participation in our democracy, critical thinking skills, and being able to look at a variety of different points of view, a lot of different materials, and decide how they want to vote, who they want to elect, is incredibly important. And that is why there needs to be this slight limitation on government speech within the education context, whether it's higher education or in K-12.
A judge has yet to make a decision in this case.